This is a politically centered podcast.
Drew Barnes, welcome to the Politically Centered Podcast.
Jeremy, thanks for talking to me today, and it's a good chance to be here. I appreciate it.
It's good to see you again. If my memory serves, we've first met. It's got to be 15 years ago now. You walked into the King of Trade, and I was running iFix phones upstairs, and you walked up with an iPhone 4S with a broken back, and I remember you very well. And you walked up, you said, "How much is the back? I'm running for MLA," and I dropped my phone on the campaign trail, and I'm like, "Well, consider this a campaign donation," and I slapped the back on it and sent you back out on your way. I'll never forget the first time we met.
Well, thank you. I remember that day well too, and appreciate it. Yeah, and it's good to be friends ever since, and it's good to see you so involved in helping Medicine Hat and filling a hole for media and communication. And here we are, all these years later in another campaign. I'm grateful for that.
Well, it's good to see you're still in the game. Chat News left quite a void, and CBC has opened up a local outlet here, but it's still left a huge, massive, gaping hole for news coverage, and hopefully this helps a little.
It will.
But Drew, just to start off on a personal note, just take a couple of minutes and the point behind my interviews is to get the people to know you on a personal level and not on a political level. So just take a couple of minutes and tell our audience who you are, who your family is, and let them get to know you.
Okay, well, thank you, Jeremy. I've lived here since 1974. I'm married to Frances. We have three sons. We are up to five grandchildren, which we're so blessed with that. I love Medicine Hat, starting from the people to the weather to the opportunities that are here. One of the reasons that I've decided to run for mayor position. A lot of Medicine Hatters expressed to me great concern about how dysfunctional this mayor and council have been the last 4 years, and 4 years of a lost opportunity. So that was important. Jeremy, I'm a recreation hockey player. I'm a recreation golfer. From enjoying every part of the city, from the shows at the Esplanade to the trails and the walking, and I'm just so grateful to be able to live and say that I'm from Medicine Hat.
I didn't know you played hockey. That's interesting.
Mhm.
That's so I'm assuming all the grandkids are in Pee Wee hockey already.
They're getting there, but yeah, I'm a left winger in hockey and a right wing conservative in real life.
I gave up on hockey after I stopped being a toddler and they were using me as the puck. It was a very clear indication where my strong points were.
Exactly.
It was not
Hey, but
hockey.
while we're on hockey, look at how well our Tigers did last year, and that arena was full for several regular season games and playoff games. That was a fun place, and I'm so cheering for the Tigers to have another good year.
I don't know if you heard, but Brock Lesnar's son is potentially going to be a Medicine Hat Tiger here. And if you've seen Brock Lesnar wrestle, I would say that it'd be a really good idea not to get into a brawl with that kid on the ice.
That makes total sense, and that will sell a few tickets as well. So
I
good on them.
agree. Yeah. So, Drew, I just want to tackle one subject really quick. I put out a post. First of all, I want to express my thanks for how polite you were. You responded right away to my message. Everybody from your campaign was wonderful to deal with. I hope from my part it did not come across as accusatory. It was me just probing for answers. The Medicine Hat United Ratepayers Association was a little defensive, but I don't see defensiveness as guilt. That is not how I think, and I would encourage the rest of our audience not to see it that way. If any of us had an article like that written about us, we'd probably be a little defensive as well, but I resolved that. So the article was asking about any connection between you and Bill Ewell, who has been a part of this community, well, for as long as I'm aware, and the Medicine Hat United Ratepayers Association and $100,000 donation. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to comment on that and clear up the subject.
Okay, well, thank you, Jeremy. Yeah, not much to clear up. I've been in politics for 13 years now. I've always and consistently been loud about lower taxes for everybody, lower taxes. So when the Medicine Hat ratepayers got started and they asked me to provide a little bit of advice, a little bit of direction, be involved in a couple of meetings, I was more than happy to. bought I think it was a $10 membership as well. And secondly, when it comes to Bill Yule, Bill and Liz Yule and their Yule Foundation and the philanthropy that they've done for Medicine Hat. But what Mr. Yule does with his money is up to him and up to him to comment on. And I'm just grateful that Bill and Liz and the Yule Foundation have done so much. And I mentioned at the same time they are.
Okay, so you're not a member of the United Medicine Hat United Ratepayers Association or a board member, or you are? I'm curious.
No, I'm not a board
You're
member.
not.
I believe I am a member, Jeremy. I bought I think it's a $10, might have been a $20 membership around a year ago. I presume that's still in effect. But let's go there though. I'm so happy with the work that the Medicine Hat Ratepayers Association has done. The city of Medicine Hat made, approximately 300 million generating electricity over a 2-year period, and our utility rates went sky high, and our taxes, a planned increase of 5.61% for 2 years in a row. One of your good articles was about how much they put into reserves. So instead of giving money to the citizens, so like your ability to increase dialogue and communication and questions and answers, I'm just so grateful that the Medicine Hat ratepayers are fighting for reasonable and proper levels of utilities and taxes and accountability.
All right. Well, thank you for clearing that up. That's a good segue into the power plant. So
Mhm.
as you know from some of my posts, I have a whole bunch of FOIP records, and I started to break them down. And needless to say, when the power plant part came up, my jaw hit the floor. That our power plant did actually take a loss last year, although you are correct with the $300 million total in that window of 2 years that you mentioned, because the previous year we had made well over $200 million in revenue. But the power plant, due to federal carbon mandates, which we won't get into too much because I'm sure everybody knows about that, and we all know how much Medicine Hat loves the Liberal government. But the natural gas prices have crashed. The power plant is losing money, and although it is a small amount of money, what do you have to say about that? I don't expect you to say you're able to fix it, because that's not realistic. Because especially with our deregulated system here in Medicine Hat, although deregulated is a convoluted term to call it to begin with, but we are subject to world gas prices here, and we're affected by it more than most places.
Yeah, well, lots of things, but number one, the Medicine Hat advantage and why so many people live in Medicine Hat and we've had a great quality of life over the years. The Medicine Hat advantage used to be affordable utilities, low taxes, and a great quality of life. Under this council, that ship has sailed. It's not available anymore. So obviously there's a whole bunch of business contracts, confidential information that a person, a candidate, doesn't have access to. Only this mayor and council would have them, and potentially that's why Medicine Hatters are so upset with all this dysfunction and lack of financial discipline they've had. But Jeremy, I believe that we have a great opportunity here because we've kept our own electric generation license. The reliability to provide a business, somebody who's going to come to Medicine Hat and provide jobs and growth and opportunity. So if we can provide them reliable electricity, that is going to be a huge step up for a business coming here. And again, 4 years of this council, I haven't even seen anybody even get close to that topic. Never mind do something about it.
Well, the previous council was considering famously selling the production aspect of medicine at the power plant. I shouldn't say utilities, but the power plant.
Mhm.
And I had the opportunity to speak with Jim Turner, sadly, before he passed away, which was a huge loss because Jim Turner was a good
Huge
man.
loss.
Putting aside his political ideals, whether you agreed or disagreed with him, he was a good man,
Yes.
and it was sad. And Jim and I spoke about it, and he was very frustrated that he could not convey to the people of Medicine Hat that selling the power plant was a good idea because it was an asset at the time, but it was quickly going to become a liability in the future with all of the things that are going on. You know, where do we stand on that? Do you know? It's I know we can't just turn around and offload it at this point, but do you see it improving in the near future, getting worse? What does it look like from your perspective?
Again, it's our jewel, and I see it improving. The population of Alberta is growing. Unfortunately, Medicine Hat isn't. The demand for electricity is going. Technology and robots are they they need electricity breaks, Jeremy, like you and I need coffee breaks. It's a huge opportunity for there you are. It's a huge opportunity for City of Medicine Hat that has an electric generation exemption in our own license to provide reliable electricity to job providers, to sell electricity to the rest of Alberta and the rest of Canada, and make some money. And I don't know why we'd consider anything but. And that's where I'm coming from is let's embrace this and let's make a reasonable, fair, good profit from our electric generation, and let's return it to the citizens of Medicine Hat.
All right. Next topic I wanted to talk about was transit. Now, in the global picture of the finances of the city and how everything is run, transit is a very, very small part of that. Yet it is essential to our new population that has moved into Medicine Hat over the last little while that doesn't have access to vehicles. Our low income population heavily uses transit. People who, especially our seniors who do not have the ability to drive and are quickly getting to the point where they can't afford to even pay for a taxi. Transit is an important thing for them, and our transit system is a disaster. Like it's a disaster. I just broke it down through a lot of the FOIP records, and I'm not even talking fiscally a disaster. Like everybody I've talked to who works in transit is just screaming bloody murder. The entire system, from my perspective, needs to be stripped down and it needs to start from scratch because I don't know where it went wrong and I don't know how to fix it. That's going to be your and the new council job, but it is definitely not functional the way it is. I hear very few positive things about it.
Well, that's one of the reasons I'm asking for the job. But let's look at the city in general. I am hearing time and time again about how the culture at our city hall is toxic. We've had 4 years of no leadership and no vision and no execution towards that outcome. I think we're on our fifth CAO since council was elected 4 years ago, and of course we all heard about the municipal inspection report that laid the blame on the mayor and the council for not communicating, for not developing this plan, for not following basically accepted practices. So I've also heard, Jeremy, about turnover being extremely high at the city of Medicine Hat. The one thing I will say is the municipal inspection report did highlight, though, that our staff, the city of Medicine Hat staff, has worked well and worked hard and worked through the dysfunction and the lack of financial discipline. So, for 4 years, we've had a city without proper vision, without proper leadership, without properly engaging our citizens for their feedback. Jeremy, the municipal infrastructure transportation plan highlighted that perfectly. The great concern I've heard about what they've done on Division Avenue with how narrow those roads are. And the response at the last council meeting was to delay it till 2006 so they can properly consult the citizens of Medicine Hat. Well, my goodness, we've already spent, 10 or $20 million, and now we're going to consult. Come on, it's time. It's time to run the city with vision and common sense.
Well, I think you've highlighted one of the major problems, and I don't think I've heard a single person disagree that there's a massive communications deficit. The city, and it has been since I've lived here, although it has gotten monumentally worse over the last 4 years. I will absolutely concede to that. We had a bunch of new people come on, and I was one of those people who ran for council last election. We all knew that it was going to be difficult. We all knew COVID recovery was going to be hard, but the wow, I don't think anybody could have seen it going this badly. This is an absolute mess, And I'm not going to lay blame on any one specific person, but because they're a team and they should have done better, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's so sad for those of us that want our kids and our grandkids to have great opportunities and jobs here, and we want some city growth for, a broader tax base and more choice, more things to do. Jeremy, I've heard about investors when they get off the plane, they looking at their phones and the first thing they say is, "What the heck is going on with your mayor and council?" We made national news for all the wrong reasons, and it's so sad when we're the best place to live. I mean, like our weather. I mean, our golfing season, our walking and hiking and biking season is much longer than many other communities. Our people work hard and take risk. We're on the corridor of two major highways. We have our own electricity generation license. We still have the remnants of an oil and gas business. There's so much opportunity here, and for 4 years, we haven't taken any advantage of it. We've gone backwards. Never mind, been taking small steps.
Well, I don't know. I would agree. We've definitely gone backwards a little as far as the public perception and the world's perception of Medicine Hat, and things like that are very, I don't know about fiscally specifically. I'll leave that up to the people who are much more skilled with that than I am. But definitely the untold damage of businesses that have probably walked away or refused to invest in our little city full of turmoil. The untold damage of that is something that I don't think anybody could calculate.
Yeah, yeah, well, you can never calculate the cost. Like, and that's a very, very good point. I've seen people on Facebook complain about, the $10 million that were spent on consultants and reviews and this kind of thing. And I think those millions of dollars are a drop in the bucket compared to the number you just mentioned, the number we can't measure. What did we lose in investment in jobs and opportunity that didn't come here? That we'll never know. But that's what we need to change on October 20th. That's why I'm asking for everyone's vote for mayor. Vote for me to ensure that the needs of Medicine Hatters, the Medicine Hat advantage, is restored, and so we can shoot for reasonable, manageable growth. Wouldn't it be nice to grow at 2,000, 2,500 people per year, so we don't lose the charm of our city, the ease to get around, the quaintness? But we need some growth, and we need some opportunities, and that's what I'm striving for.
My next question is, I was looking up your businesses,
Mhm.
and you like, wow, I had no idea you had built such an enormous empire for yourself. You have done very well for yourself.
Well, thanks. I don't know if I called it an empire, but thank you.
Well, I was looking up a list of the businesses, and a lot of them were like, you don't just you're not just a landlord, you are you're a builder, you own the storage. A lot of the companies that build a house and then lease them out, you've covered it top to bottom, and I admire what you've accomplished, because that's monumental, and it speaks to your ability to build a business. After all, the city is just a business after it's all said and done, a very complicated one. But that also brings into the conversation a potential conflict of interest, right? And where so it's not typical for municipal elected officials to put things in a blind trust. I know that's generally a provincial federal thing, but how are you going to navigate that if you get elected to mayor, that with not looking after your own best interests, especially when you're so invested in the city of Medicine Hat through businesses, instead of just saying, trust me, because that's all fine and dandy, but that is going to come up, and we are all human. So please
Mhm.
go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy. Well, I appreciate that. And again, I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to be in Medicine Hat with my wife Frances and my family. We have been successful. And again, I guess it's a situation of these are private business affairs, and we have shown that we can build things and get things done and focus on what needs to be done. I will put that same effort to growing Medicine Hat and for the citizens of Medicine Hat, all of us. Secondly, I was MLA for 11 years, and I always knew when to recuse myself and not be involved in any conflict of interest. that will continue. And Jeremy, my businesses are successful, and I'm grateful for that. But on a day-to-day basis today, I don't, I'm not very involved in them today. So I don't see that changing.
So you're not involved in everyday active operations. They run themselves and you have very competent people in place. Is that what you're
I have several employees, all great employees who work very hard and take care of our customers very well. I do have some financial and some slight oversight, but but very little involvement, very little day-to-day activity.
so you don't perceive any conflict of interest there?
I do not perceive any conflict of interest, and where there will be, if there potentially is going to be some, I will seek advice and I will recuse myself the same way I did as 11 years as an MLA. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. So speaking of MLA, you were famously expelled from caucus by Jason Kenney during COVID, and you know, COVID sucked for all of us, all of
No
us.
kidding.
You expressed to me in private conversation how frustrated you were about the whole thing. I have expressed the same to you that you and I both got put through the ringer during COVID in our own way. You got it way worse than I did. No doubt about that. But it's especially with the turmoil going on with council right now, being a team player is a big subject, and that's very important to the city of Medicine Hat, because what we want to see is the arguing stop.
Yes.
I think everybody is tired of the conflict. We're tired of watching our neighbors rip each other to pieces and people be cruel to each other. And I know that at one point Danielle Smith had asked you to come back to caucus after she was elected, but she did not offer you finance minister, if I remember correctly. Can you elaborate on all of that? Because I know the bigger talking points, but I don't know all the small details.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate all you said. Okay, so for starters, Danielle Smith, she asked me to support her in the leadership. I told her that I couldn't and I was staying neutral. After she won, she asked me to apologize to my UCP colleagues. I said, no, I have nothing to apologize for. And then she called me and asked me to come back in. And I said, great, make me a minister, give me responsibility, and I'll be there tomorrow. I do want to clear that up because that's the third or fourth time I've heard that rumor. I did not say I only have to be finance minister. Jeremy, what I said is give me a ministry, give me real responsibility and autonomy, and I will be there tomorrow. And that answer was no. And unfortunately, being a government backbencher was the most unstimulating period of my life. There's very little to do. There's very little autonomy, and so I just hope that that's that's better off in someone else's hands now, and that's good. When it comes to building the team, I think I was the first one to speak up against Jason Kenney's leadership, whether it was financial or COVID or lack of listening. And I think I was the early innovator. I mean, look where that ended up with a big team behind, forcing his ouster. So I've worked hard on that at this point in time. Now, I do not understand the logic of the UCP law, but here's the law. In Edmonton and Calgary, you can run as a political party or you can run as a slate. And of course, the advantage of a political party is a political party can raise and contribute the same amount as the candidates. So if you can run as a political party, it actually gives you double spending. Okay, but the UCP put in a law that you can only do that in Edmonton and Calgary. You cannot do that in Medicine Hat. So we can't say we're a slate. We can't say we're a political party. But I am building the team. Currently today, I have Cheryl Pfaff, Emmanuel Moritz, and Gord Cowan, who are running on the same ideas, the same values, and talking about being a team. What would be ideal, and I have talked to several more counselors, and I am still working on this, and of course with the election October 20th, I have a few days yet to finalize this. I'd like to add three more counselors to that list. So I say, please elect, or please consider electing these 6 counselors elect Drew Barnes as mayor. We will work together to put the citizens' needs of Medicine Hat first. We will put the growth and jobs and opportunity increasing for Medicine Hat first. And again, I'll say it again. I've talked to 7 or 8 other counselors, very, very good people that I'm still working with them and working on them, and that kind of collaboration, even if everybody stays separate, which is fine, is what this mayor and this council haven't done. You know, the municipal investigation report clearly outlined how they hadn't talked to each other for years. Are you kidding me? How can you run a multi-million dollar revenue and expenditure business without talking to each other?
Yeah, it's back to the communications deficit. It did not just apply to the people of Medicine Hat. It clearly was a communications deficit within the council that simply spread outwards. And
Yeah.
they just were not talking to each other. They were not agreeing on anything. And it's fine to have different views, but in the end, you have to put aside your ego sometimes, and you have to focus on the bigger picture. And those are the people who voted.
Yeah, yeah, you have to accept that there's going to be disagreement and brainstorm, share ideas behind closed doors. And if there's a difference in of votes out in the open, be mature and accept that different people think different and move on.
I have a memory of you, ironically, with Stephen Campbell and Tall by Tommy, both of who I've interviewed,
Yeah.
because I think they had it was called We Choose Freedom Medicine Hat or whatever it was called, and it was in front of your MLA office at the time, and I remember. It just happened to be, Tall by Tommy came by with his camera and he was recording as you were walking out to talk to Stephen Campbell, and you got kind of caught up in the middle of that. Do you feel that led to the whole controversy between you and Jason Kenney?
No, I don't think so. Like, sure, at times I came out and I said, the testing, was deemed inaccurate, and I said we should review the testing. I went on Rosemary Barton, national news. I got
CBC.
a lot of pushback for those two things. Probably the real starter, though, our Alberta system is broken. In 11 years, I only got 2 private members' bills. I mean, I'm representing 45,000 Cypress Medicine Hatters, and I only got twice to stand up and try to put a law into what really was important to them. And anyway, this was just a motion. But anyway, an NDP finally got a motion where he could do that one day, an NDP member, and the UCP found a remote way to put him to the bottom of the order paper. And Jeremy being on the bottom of the order paper means it will never come up because every time there's a new throne speech, it all gets sent away. It's done. And so they took away his chance to talk. Even it was for 2 or 3 hours. It wasn't going to be very long. So I stood up that day and I said, even though I think virtually the opposite of what this member thinks, even though I'm going to stand up and say probably the opposite of what I think he's going to say, you do not have the right to take away his chance to speak. But they did. And that was where it mostly started to go sideways for me. And, but I also, we had a budget with a big deficit. We had a big budget with some tax increases. At a time, Jeremy, Alberta's blessed. We have $17 billion a year in oil and gas royalties. We're going to have more oil sand plants recover their investments, so they'll even pay the Alberta people more taxes. I thought it was the time to reduce taxes. And anyway, that's provincial. I'm just now focused on municipal. Jason Kenney is such old news as far as Medicine Hat's concerned.
Yes.
And so let's not repeat those mistakes. And that's why I'm focused on number one, jobs and opportunities. It is so time to sell Medicine Hat to the rest of Canada. We're the best place to live, but we're a well-kept secret. We're a too well-kept secret. And secondly, property tax increase freeze. Our taxes and spending have gone very, very high. And Jeremy, when I'm at the doors, and I've knocked on quite a few doors so far, there's a lot of medicine hatters that are hurting. There's a huge affordability crisis right now. So I think the city should do what they can and make it more affordable for medicine hatters, even in a small way of a small property tax increase freeze. And then third, crime and homelessness. I heard it twice this morning. People who will not go downtown. Medicine Hat needs to own the homeless and crime problem rather than, oh, say it's the province's fault or the federal government's fault. Let's own it and then let's solve it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed our interview today. As I was, you're right. You are running for municipal office and not provincial anymore. So that's it's hard to separate the two. And everybody's itching to ask about the past, and I wanted to cover a couple of those topics. But to be fair to you, you are not running for MLA, and you are not part of the provincial government anymore. And I completely agree with that statement. So good luck in your campaign. I wish you all the best. And thank you so much for your time today.
Jeremy, thank you too. Thanks for your time and thanks for doing this.
Take care, Drew.
Bye for now.
Support for today's episode comes from The Phone Whisperer, Medicine Hat's best-kept secret since 2010. Serving Medicine Hat and area for over 15 years. Created by the mind behind iFix phones. Need a fix? Call 403-488-1220. The Phone Whisperer. Welcome home, Hatters.
This is a politically centered podcast.